There are moments in life when everything feels heavy, thoughts become noisy, desires feel endless, and peace seems far away. Yet within ancient wisdom lies a simple truth. Reality is not something that happens to you. It is something shaped from within you. When perception changes, life itself begins to change. The first idea is awareness of the mind. Most suffering does not come from the world, but from the way the mind reacts to it. Thoughts rise like waves, some calm, some violent. But you are not the waves. You are the silent space that observes them. When you learn to watch your thoughts instead of becoming them, you stop being controlled by fear and emotion. In that space of observation, clarity is born, and clarity is the beginning of transformation. The second idea is letting go of attachment. Much of human pain comes from holding too tightly, holding on to people, outcomes, expectations, and even identities. But everything in life is temporary, like sand slipping through open fingers. The more you cling, the more you suffer when it leaves. The moment you learn to hold life lightly, without desperation, you begin to feel a strange freedom. Nothing is truly lost when it was never meant to be permanent. The third idea is the power of present awareness. The mind often travels between what was and what will be, rarely staying where life actually exists. The past is memory, the future is imagination, but the present is reality itself. When attention returns fully to the now, the breath, the body, the simple act of being alive, something profound happens. Anxiety loses its grip, and peace stops being a goal and becomes an experience. The fourth idea is compassion in action. Every being you meet is carrying unseen struggles, silent battles, and hidden pain. When understanding replaces judgment, the heart softens, anger begins to dissolve. When you realize that hurting others is often a reflection of inner suffering, compassion does not mean weakness. It is strength, guided by wisdom. It transforms not only how you treat others, but how you see yourself. The fifth idea is inner responsibility. Life does not change by blaming circumstances or waiting for external rescue. Every moment, a choice is being made. How to respond, how to think, how to act. Even in difficult situations, there is always a space where your response belongs only to you. When responsibility shifts inward, power returns. You stop being a victim of life and start becoming a creator of your experience. These 5 ideas are not theories to admire. They are practices to live. Awareness, letting go, presence, compassion, and responsibility together form a path that quietly reshapes reality from the inside out. Nothing outside may change immediately, but something within begins to settle. Like still water after a storm, awareness of the mind. Sudha. You are not your thoughts. Observing them creates clarity and reduces suffering. Most human suffering begins in the mind. Yet most people spend their entire lives looking outside for the cause of their pain. Thoughts arrive constantly. Some are based on reality, Many are shaped by fear, memory, imagination, and assumption. When a thought appears, the mind often grabs it immediately and treats it as truth. This creates emotional reactions that feel automatic: anxiety from imagined futures, regret from past events, or anger from misunderstood intentions. Over time, a person becomes trapped inside this inner commentary. Without realizing, there is a space between awareness and thought. True transformation begins when a person learns to notice thoughts instead of becoming them. In that moment of observation, something powerful happens. The thought is seen clearly as just a mental event, not an absolute reality. This creates distance, and in that distance lies freedom. The mind does not stop thinking, but its control weakens. Emotions still arise, but they no longer dominate behavior. Awareness becomes like the sky, and thoughts become passing clouds that come and go without changing the vastness behind them. With practice, this silent observation grows stronger, and clarity replaces confusion. Decisions become calmer, reactions become softer, and inner peace is no longer dependent on external condition. Letting go of attachment, clinging to people, outcomes, or expectations creates pain. Freedom comes from non-attachment. Human suffering often comes from the deep habit of clinging, holding tightly to people. Outcomes, emotions, and even ideas about who we are. The mind creates a sense of ownership over things that are, by nature, temporary. We want relationships to remain exactly the same. We want success to stay permanent. And we want moments of happiness to never end. But life is constantly changing, and this natural flow cannot be controlled. When change inevitably arrives, resistance begins. That resistance turns into sadness, frustration, or fear. The more tightly we hold, the more painful the loss feels when things shift. Letting go does not mean rejecting life or becoming cold. It means understanding the truth of impermanence. Everything that arises will also pass away: joy, pain, people, situations, and identities. When this truth is deeply understood, the grip of attachment begins to loosen naturally. The heart becomes lighter, not because life has become easier, but because expectations have softened. In that softness, a new kind of strength appears, one that is not dependent on control. You begin to experience life as a flow rather than a possession. Instead of fearing loss, you learn to appreciate presence. And in that appreciation, freedom quietly takes root within you. Living in the present moment, true peace exists only in the now, not in the past or future. Most people search for peace in places that do not exist, either in memories of the past or in imagined versions of the future. The mind constantly moves like a restless traveler, revisiting what has already gone and projecting what has not yet arrived. Because of this, life itself is rarely fully experienced. The present moment, which is the only real space of existence, is often ignored, yet all true experience happens only now. Breathing happens now. Seeing happens now. Feeling happens now. When attention is pulled back into this moment, something subtle but powerful begins to shift. The urgency of the mind slows down. Thoughts still appear, but they no longer carry the same weight or control. Instead of being pulled into endless mental time travel, awareness rests gently in what is actually happening. In this state, even ordinary things gain a quiet depth. The sound of wind, the rhythm of breath, the simplicity of being alive. Anxiety loses strength because it depends on future imagination. And regret weakens because it depends on past memory. What remains is a clear, grounded sense of presence. This presence is not something achieved through effort alone. It is something remembered, and once tasted, it becomes the doorway through which life is experienced more fully, more peacefully, and more truthfully. Practicing compassion sayandan, understanding others' hidden struggles, replaces judgment and transforms relationships. Human beings often misunderstand the nature of others because they only see external behavior and not internal struggle. Every person carries invisible burdens, emotional wounds, personal fears, silent disappointments, and battles that are never spoken aloud. When someone acts harshly, it is easy to judge them based on their actions alone. But behind that behavior, there is usually pain, confusion, or conditioning that shaped their response. When this deeper reality is ignored, relationships become filled with misunderstanding and conflict. However, when awareness expands, judgment slowly begins to dissolve. Instead of reacting with anger, there is space to pause and consider what the other person might be going through. This shift does not mean accepting harmful behavior blindly, but it changes the way the heart responds. Compassion begins to replace criticism, and understanding begins to replace assumption. Over time, this way of seeing transforms not only relationships with others, but also the relationship with oneself. When you stop judging others so harshly, you also become less harsh toward your own mistakes and imperfections. Compassion is not weakness. It is a refined form of strength that requires inner stability. It allows communication to become softer, conflicts to reduce, and human connection to deepen in a way that is grounded in awareness rather than reaction. Taking inner responsibility. Fashion, your life changes when you own your responses instead of blaming external circumstances. Most people feel powerless in life because they believe their circumstances are shaped entirely by external forces. They blame situations, other people, or past events for where they currently stand. While external conditions do influence life, the deeper truth is that response is always internal. Between what happens and what you do next, there is a small but powerful space. In that space lies your freedom. You cannot always control what enters your life, but you can always control how you interpret it and how you respond to it. When this understanding becomes clear, something shifts within the mind. Victimhood begins to weaken, and responsibility begins to rise. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything. It means recognizing your ability to shape your next step regardless of the past. Even in difficult situations, there is always a choice: how to think, how to act, and how to move forward. This awareness transforms helplessness into empowerment. Over time, you stop waiting for external rescue and start building internal strength.